Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. So what I'm going to be doing today is having a look at some of the oldest available item prices for old school RuneScape. How we're going to be doing this is by using the wayback machine to an old zybez marketplace page. It'll be kind of an archive. It's going to be a little janky to try to navigate through. Often a lot of the web pages will crash, but we're going to try our best to have a look at what some of the early item prices were in old school RuneScape. Now to start off here on the Wayback Machine, the earliest snapshot that we have is April 28th of 2013. So I have a few pages loaded up at that date. However, I found the website to be much more stable a few months later, and there is a graph that we can go have a look at the price then anyway. And after we have a look at what the price was in 2013 or 2014, we'll compare it to today's price. Now it won't be a totally fair comparison. For example, let's look at this Barrows set here. This is from the earliest snapshot available. And the Barrows set's only worth 2 mil, however, with inflation, that's probably worth way more. If adjusted for inflation, the item prices are going to be way higher in 2013 just because the availability was way less. For things like the Mud Battle Staff being worth like 6 mil each, that's worth even more just because of the time frame being April 29th of 2013. That could be worth 20 mil in today's gold. It's kind of hard to say. We're going to compare them quickly, but mainly I just want to look at some of these old item prices and reflect on how far we've come. Okay, first up here we have the Saradomin sword. As of February 6th of 2014, it was worth around 6 mil. If we go back even further till October 20th of 2013, which I think is the earliest snapshot for this particular page, how many zeros is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... I think that's 30 mil. I'm not sure if this is actually accurate because the difference between the buy price and the sell price is astronomical. However, on this day, we can see some buy offers and sell offers going through for 14 mil, 10 mil. Well, that one's probably a troll offer, 11 mil. So currently seems to be worth about 14 mil, maybe upon the release, even worth upwards of 30 mil. Now, when Old School RuneScape was released, I was not paying attention to item prices like this because I never could afford that item. Currently, the Saradomin sword is worth 1.3 mil and adjusted for inflation, way less. Next up here we have the Abyssal Wit, probably one of the most iconic PVM weapons. As of December 21st, 2014, it's worth around 1.6 mil. If we go to the earliest snapshot, which was April 28th of 2013, we can see upon the release that the first few Abyssal Whips went from 15 mil to 25 mil. However, quickly crashed down to, well, 3.5, 4 mil-ish. And I repeat, 4 mil back in 2013 was probably worth 3, 4, 5 times, I don't even know, way more than it is today. Okay, next up here we have the Barrows Gun Set. Now this was worth way more back in 2014. The main reason for that was there was a 6-hour splashing, I'm going to call it a bug, or an abusable bug anyway. And it was worth way more back then. Now it's not worth as much just because of, there's not as many uses for it. And we can see that reflected in the price a bit because even upon the release, it was only worth around 5 mil. It went up and down a bit, but I think because of that 6-hour AFK Guthans method, it just kind of continued to go up. 8.4 mil as of June 29th of 2013. And if we compare that to today's prices, it's worth... Okay, let's move on to another item here. We have the Amulet of Fury. We'll go to the all-time view here. The Amulet of Fury never seemed to go above 4 or 5 mil really, but currently worth about 3 mil as of October 20th of 2014. And if we go back to the earliest snapshot, which was again April 29th of 2013, it was going for around the same price. Okay, one really interesting one is actually Snakeskin Boots. As of November 12th of 2014, it was over 23k. Very surprising that Snakeskin Boots were that sought after, but I guess Zulrah dropping the snakeskin must have tanked the price of this. I'm not sure if there was another reason. Let me know if you have any ideas in the comment section. If we have a look at the earliest snapshot, worth around the same price of 20k each, which is a lot for just Snakeskin Boots. We're just confirming here, the release date of Old School RuneScape was February 22nd of 2013. So that's pretty much the release date, worth around 50k. I don't even know if I need to look this up, but as of today, Snakeskin Boots are worth 188 GP. Next up here we have Dragon Bones. Upon the release, worth around 1k up to 1.5k, and got even as high as 3k each, which is very expensive considering the era. Next up we have a very interesting one, and that is the Smoke Battle Staff. As of, well, what is this? October 12th of 2014, it was worth 8 mil or 7 mil. Currently, the Smoke Battle Staff is worth around 4 mil, and this is one of the few items that kind of continue to increase in price ever since the release date pretty well. Next up here we have the Rim's Robe Top. Now unfortunately it's kind of difficult for me to search up individual items, so I'm kind of using the most traded list and kind of switching between dates to get links to click on. It's a bit awkward, but at least we do have some information here. The Rim's Robe Top worth only 200k. back in December of 2014. If we have a look back when the game released, they went up to around 600k to 800k, but went downhill pretty much after then. So that's actually a pretty significant difference. Even with inflation, the Rim's robe top is more valuable today, I would imagine, being at around 2.5 mil. Okay, here's an interesting one, the red party hat. Now, I don't remember this, but apparently the party hats were worth a lot upon the release, and I'm assuming that is because people thought that it would follow the same route that RS3 did. I think a lot of people were holding on to party hats and hoping that they'd become discontinued like they did in the original game. Now, we know that to not be true. However, the earliest snapshot of a party hat price on July 7th is showing that upon the release, they were worth 8 mil, which is by far the highest price they've ever been at. If we can skip forward to maybe, well, we don't want to go above the Grand Exchange. Let's go here. On November 11th of 2014, they were worth more than they are today still, at being at around 60k. However, yeah, they crashed down extremely quickly. It seems like by September of 2013, they were down to maybe under a couple hundred K, and just continued to crash down since then. Okay, look at this one, the Mud Battle Staff, worth 7 mil upon the release, more or less. We can see your offers for 5 mil, 6 mil, 7 mil maybe. Either way, worth a ton. If we compare that to today, Mud Battle Staffs are worth 100k. I believe this is just from a lack of uses. The Mud Battle Staff is only really useful for maybe humidifying and a few other random things. It does not have any important uses, but it's interesting to see how valuable it was back in 2013. Okay, another one we managed to scrape here was red spider eggs. We can see upon the release that the red spider eggs went up to almost 1k each, or even more potentially. That is insanely expensive for just a herblore secondary. Another pretty popular item is the Amulet of Fury. We can see upon the release worth around 5 mil. As of April 29th of 2013, worth around 3 mil to 4 mil. Again, we have to account for inflation. While this is kind of similar to the price it is today, 3 mil back in 2013 was worth astronomically more. That being said, I think Furies are actually cheaper than that anyway. Okay, a little bit. Next up here, we have prayer potions. Upon the release, actually pretty cheap. However, as the gold became easier to obtain and more people started PVMing, I'm assuming, it started to be worth upwards of 15k each, which is quite expensive for prayer potions. Currently, the prayer potions are only worth 8.5k. Next up here, we have the Berserker Ring. Interestingly, it started off pretty cheap. It wasn't one of those items that were so sought after that people were paying insane prices to begin with. Wait, how many zeros is that? That's hard to see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, yeah, no, that's 5 mil. So they started off at around, well, 2 or 3 mil when they stabilized and went all the way up to 5 mil each, which is pretty expensive for a Berserker Ring. As of the current snapshot, worth around 3 mil each. And to end it here, let's have a look at one last item. The Dragonfire Shield, as of the 21st of December 2014, worth about 20 mil. If we go back to the old school RuneScape release date, it peaked up to 60 mil each. That is so expensive for a defensive shield, pretty much. That item was insanely expensive for quite a while. Anyway guys, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed looking at some of these really old item prices. It's really interesting to see how the economy has progressed over the last 5 years. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.